Haven't done a guitar video in a little while. In my hands here, I have Ibanez RG570, made in Japan from the year 1998. But Gotoh 1996T, and not this original Edge. What gives? Okay, we're going to talk about this one. I'm going to try to answer the questions that I couldn't find on YouTube or anything when I was doing this or getting this done. I'm going to try to answer them here in this video, okay? At least to the best of my abilities. Around this channel, I do guitar videos. I also have my own music and some just fun reels of some covers and all that kind of fun stuff once in a while. So anyway, if you guys would like to hit the subscribe button, like button, notification bell, that would be really cool. And if you have an Ibanez RG570, 470, whatever you got, one of these things, leave a comment below. Tell me how it's working out for you. These were a really high-end guitar at the time. They were quite expensive, basically the Prestige line. And you know, this before the Prestige line. But you guys can always talk about it below. These videos usually get some comments and stuff, and I love to interact there. So anyway, let me know what you got. So this guitar, I've had it since 2009, and the crap was played out of it back in 2009. And then I played the crap out of it for quite a while myself. Well, it kind of wore out, and it sat on the rack. And well, that's kind of sad for a guitar that probably one of my best playing guitars is this particular one. One of my favorite ones, actually. I always just felt right. And unfortunately, the frets that came on this guitar were just absolutely worn out. I couldn't intonate it. You couldn't really work with it anymore. It was just wasn't great. And I saw one day that a guy was getting a refret done with Fireside Guitars, who also made this pickup. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I was like, hey, Mike does refrets, and I do like to support local and whatnot. And I got a hold of Mike and said, hey, I got a guitar, I'd like to have a refret. So he was super cool and helped me out. So if you are in Nova Scotia, Canada, get a hold of Fireside Guitars. His links are below, okay? We did a mod to this guitar. We put stainless steel frets on this thing, and he did an incredible job at filing these things and boy, was that a lot more work than I thought it would be. Like, I can tell right now why some guitars, like why some customs just cost so much money, because just being involved in the whole process of doing this was a huge thing. Actually putting the frets in the guitar really wasn't that bad, okay? But he did such an awesome job at getting this done. It just plays better probably than it ever did. And now it's got stainless steel frets, so it can't wear out. And the thing is, with a lot of those old Japanese guitars, they did seem to have soft frets. The Jackson Stealth I had in another video was no different. Yeah, the Jackson Stealth was also a really awesome guitar in comparison with this. I do just prefer the Ibanez. That's just a bias. I'm used to this one. It has 24 frets. But similar things going on, except this one has a much better bridge on it than the Jackson head. But yeah, so stainless steel frets. But as for this guitar, it's got the wizard neck on it. It's like one of those thin ones with that awesome skunk stripe. And 24 frets. It's cool. It has the humbucker single humbucker thing going on in it. This one came with a super distortion, like a DiMarzio super distortion when I first got it, okay? And I left that in there because I still like the pickup. It still has a little corrosion, but a lot of things were corroded. My original edge that came in it was corroded. The pickup rings were corroded, you know, so swapped out the pickup rings. I had already swapped out the stock neck pickup to a PAF Pro years ago. This guitar, I also had another mod before this particular project, which was push-pull to get the single coil sounds, and as well as a no-load tone pot, which when turned all the ways up takes the tone pot out of the circuit, okay? We did replace these knobs with Gotoh knobs, which just to make it look better than the corroded bits itself, new screws and whatnot. I think the main thing we need to start talking about is this right here, this thing, because the original Edge, it's a great bridge. Unfortunately, the original Edge that was in this guitar wasn't really going back to the 0 point, okay? And we found out when looking at it that the knife edge was just, it was worn out. It had a little gouge in it and stuff, and it just wasn't gonna fit. So I was told to look into a Gotoh 1996T, which we have on this guitar. And let me tell you, that Gotoh 1996T is awesome. Gotoh, I'm pretty sure they're the same company that make the original Edge. They're made in Japan as well. So one thing to keep in mind, if you're going to buy the Gotoh 1996T for an Ibanez RG, get the 33 millimeter block. Now, I couldn't find that within Canada. I had to buy like a block from an aftermarket seller over on Amazon and put that on there, because the one I found had I think a 40 millimeter block. So I just had to swap that out. But this thing all corroded up, really hard metal, but wouldn't go back into tune. And the original Edge, this is not to bash the original Edge. That's just a very old one. And obviously, like, there were some adjustments made on this guitar at some point where they maybe weren't, you know, loosening up the spring or the strings and stuff. Like, you have to take the tension off the bridge, okay? But putting this in the guitar, one thing that I really wasn't sure about is, was I going to be able to actually get this in the cavity without doing modifications? Well, to answer your question, I was able to put this directly in the guitar, no modifications to the cavity over here. 0. Also, we need to talk about these things here. These are the posts that your tremolo balances on. And then there's these things. This is, I'm going to call it, I don't know the proper name. Let's call it the pocket or something. The stud mount, whatever. These things lock, by the way. They have a little thing in there, and you actually can lock the posts into them. It's actually really cool. They're actually in here, and the good tremolos will have that. But these are the Gotoh ones. So to answer this question is that because I've seen people do videos of these with guitars that have the TRS tremolos, like Gem Juniors or something like that. Whatever ones have those cheaper ones, and they want to swap them out to the Gotoh, which is just a lot better, okay? And I'd see them drilling the holes and whatnot. But actually those little pockets, those things, and the RG body is actually kind of buried in there. So you'd actually be weakening the guitar by actually taking those old ones out and drilling them. And I'm going to show you something right here. This is the Ibanez post that I replaced with the Gotoh post, and this is from Gotoh. And look at this. They're the literal exact same threading. You don't have to use these. This is more for a new build, okay? All we had to do was put that in there. I put the new springs in it and whatnot. Didn't have to change anything else, which is absolutely fantastic. But why the Gotoh 1996T over an Ibanez Original Edge? And that really just straight up boils down to cost. You really can't find Ibanez Original Edge tremolos too easily. You can find some on the used market, but they're a lot of money. And Ibanez, to me, doesn't seem like they want to be a parts dealer. I guarantee you there's a ton of these somewhere. If you are looking for something like that, Rich Harris over at Ibanez Rules can likely hook you up, but I can't promise that. Also, dude, your site's super old, man. But I've dealt with Rich before, back in the past. He's really good. So either way, Gotoh works absolutely fantastic in this guitar. So direct swap, you know, feels really good in the hands. Just, I don't know. It's just having a fresh system that actually, you know, stays in tune. You can't go wrong. Yeah, so new pickup rings. Then we got this pickup over here. You see that pickup? It's a Fireside pickup. It's a Fireside single coil that has an 8K resistance in it. And the fun thing with working with Mike Brunt at Fireside Guitars is, like, unlike when you're usually installing a pickup and you know, order one in, you go take the old one out and solder it in. Mike makes his own pickups. He makes them for Stratocaster. Just said, well, I would love to have one in this because, I mean, did I really need to swap it? No, but I wanted one of Mike's pickups. And so what we did was actually wound one on the spot. And that was a really cool thing because I have never been around where somebody's made a pickup before. And there's actually kilometers of wire. Like, the wire is thinner than human hair. And he just winds it up, like hand wound it with the machine kind of thing, going back and forth, back and forth. We had to wire this thing in and whatnot. And yeah, and it's fantastic. It sounds absolutely killer. I mean, amps are going to be a big change here, but I do think that pickups in the room that sound inspiring to you are going to, you know, gonna make you want to play more. And this Fireside pickup is definitely one of those, and it works great with the Super Distortion and the PAF Pro from DiMarzio in here as well. Oh yeah, I should point out, you know what I like about this bridge too? Is that the tram bar, it has a little screw in the back. You can actually tighten this up so it stays where you want it to go. Unlike this thing, the arms had these little plastic pieces that just always ended up getting loose, and that really sucked all the time. But either way, amazing playing guitar. Love the stainless steel frets. So glad to have this back in the rotation. I've been playing it an absolute ton recently, you know, and I just gotta say thanks to Mike at Fireside Guitars for helping me out with this. So if you're gonna do this job, Gotoh's fit, because I haven't seen anybody do it with these ones replacing the Edge. I'm not saying you have to replace your Edge. If the Edge, original Edge, or your Edge Low Pro is working great, then keep those in there because they're fantastic. And then if you can find a new one of those, then great. But if you don't have like a ton of money when you do see one, the Gotoh is the way to go. I don't know if that's supposed to be like their punchline. Gotoh, we're the way to go in guitar bridges. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what else to say. If you're in Nova Scotia, check out Fireside Guitars. If you're not in Nova Scotia, I'm sure he'll ship you some pickups too if you want it. You know, he'll take on some work if he has some time, I'm sure. Anyway, links are below. Yeah, but killer guitar. And you guys have an awesome rest of your day. You can click the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell. And I will see you guys all in the next video. See yas.